Alright guys, here's that freshie. So last time we picked up this bike from Let's Ride, this GasGas EC300. Here's a look of it all stock, super fresh, super clean. But today we are gonna get it to the house and into the garage, and we're gonna start the build. So the first thing that I noticed about the GasGas that I really liked is that they're using this older style of KTM plastic, which hooks underneath instead of the kind of the newer, the 2020s, which they always pulled out. And as you can see here, this is my girlfriend's bike. We had a zip tie stitch it all up so that it wouldn't pull out anymore. So I'm really happy that the GasGas went back to this clip under style. So here's that tail light. These things, you should definitely take them off because they are really easy to bust off. If you stand the bike up straight up and down, it will actually hit. I did it on my girlfriend's bike, and here's the first ride on the GasGas, and I almost broke it off. You can see that rear fender almost hit. So I'm taking this thing off before I break it. I could put it on when I sell it. There's just these little posts there, and you could chop them off if you wanted to, if you felt inclined, but I might just leave it so it's easier to put it back on. And all you have to do is unhook this little plug, pull it through, and it comes off. Save yourself some money, save yourself some zip ties. So we are going to be deleting this thermostat. It's a lot of extra stuff, and I think it kind of hurts the performance of the bike. We're going to put these Samco hoses on there, and it's just off of they're just regular Samco hoses. Just don't get the OEM ones because that has the thermostat in it. So the thing you need to be careful about with these new 2020 and 2021 bikes is that if you flex the radiator, it's going to be really easy to hit and puncture your hose on the motor right there. It's a really prone spot. A lot of people are breaking it or getting leaks right there. So you got to watch out for that, and I've got a little hack for that to help you guys out. So let's look at the 2018 right here. This is my older bike. Look how much higher the radiators are, and it just clears it. In 2020, they moved them down, and now they hit. I wish they would go back up to the original. So we're going to fit that Samco in there, and this is a guard that I sell on the Trailbound shop. It just goes around the hose, and it allows the hose to flex, but it protects the hose with that strong plastic. So I actually ended up going back to the Napa hose because the Samco off the 18 was a little bit too short, but with this guard I think it'll be fine. And you can see right there, that's right where that bolt is right where it gets hit. So we're going to get that thing protected, and we'll run this guard on there. Now it's time to get into that drivetrain. I'm just chopping this thing off because the master links on these bikes, they kneel them over, so it's hard to get off. And the first part we are putting on this bike is the DDC sprocket. And these things are super light and super nice. I really like these. I've ran them on so many bikes. I've gotten tons and tons of hours out of them, and they don't even wear out. So if you see here, this is on my 18, this is 130 hours, and it's not even showing wear other than like a little bit of the chrome. Normally on those aluminum sprockets, they really wear in. So these are a great investment. DDC, they're in Nevada. Check them out. So we'll be putting this big TMD chain guide on there. This is much stronger than the stock one. I've broken so many chain guides, and this will keep it nice and protected. Next thing is we're running this chain. This is what Let's Ride had. It's a 520 MXU. It's a little bit lighter than the other chain that I normally get, which they didn't have in stock. But I don't specifically have a chain I necessarily love. Let me know in the comments if there's a certain chain that you think is worth like getting for future bikes. So out with the old 50 tooth and in with the new DDC 51. And I think this is going to work out really nice. So you can see DDC has these special black bolts, the Allen bolts, and they're a little bit cleaner than the OEM kind of just raw star nuts. So I like the look of those. Next up, let's dive into the package from Bulletproof. We've got a lot of guards here. We've got that flange protector for when you take the power dents. You've got, they make a gas cap now. This is the fork shoe protector. I'm loving these things. They're really keeping my forks protected down low. And this is the brake caliper guard, and I've actually got some good use out of the previous one, which I'll show you in a minute. So I'm definitely going to run those. This is the new front disc guard, and as you can see, it looks like they got rid of some material there and lightened it up a bit. It looks really clean. I'm really liking the look of this thing. And this is the rear shark fin. This will help protect that rear disc. Essential TPI guard. This is new to me. Never had to run one of those before. We've got the tab protector. This is so if you hit that chain guide, which is really low, you won't bust your tabs off your swing arm. And you guys all know the radiator guards. These things are essential for not puncturing holes in your radiators and keeping them strong. So here you can see we're mounting up that tab protector. Put some Loctite in this because I have lost a bolt on the trail before, and it was a pain to find the right size one in the pack amongst all of us. But these things are sweet. I'm loving that red on red. It's going to look great on the bike. This is the caliper guard that I was talking about that attaches to the new bulletproof shark fins. And I run the silver down low just because it gets so scratched up. And then I'll run the red anodizing on the top because that gets a little bit less wear and stays clean. You can see the brake tech is very similar to the Brembo, and I'm assuming these are going to perform just as well as the Brembos, but I will let you guys know if that's the case. So here's that caliper guard I was talking about. This one, you can see I put a beading on it. It got super twisted and bent, and it protected that brake, so I think it's doing its job. They definitely look cool. I like the look of them, and as you can see, like it protected my brakes, so I whapped it on a rock. We're getting rid of this plastic TPI guard. That thing is not going to protect the sensor. This aluminum one is going to be much better, but it's a little bit different mounting than previously. We have to take this bolt out in order to get it on, and luckily Bulletproof was thinking ahead, and they sent us this little the security Torx so that we could get it off, because I didn't have that. I looked in the package, which I almost threw away, and here's that security Torx. Just put it in my driver and mount it up. There's a little bit of play there, which is interesting. So now we're cutting the chain down. This is how I cut my chains. I just grind off the top pins, pop it off with the cold chisel. As you can see there, she popped it off, and that just helps kind of push it over. So then we get a punch, push it through, and we've got the right size link. You could use these vice grips to pop it on if you're on the trail and you don't have a chain press. Well, mine is in the van, so I just figured I'd just grab this. And this is another trick that I use, is that you can use the vice grip to hold the pin so that when you pop that link on, it doesn't wander and snap, because that piece of metal is really easy to snap if you were to twist it. So the way that I run these master links is that you get that round part facing forward, and that's because as it goes around this and then through the chain guide, it's pushing that master link on at all times. Sometimes if you back up, you could actually lose your master link. And if you ran it backwards, you would also be able to lose it easily as well. Here's that DDC 51 looking good. Bulletproof tab protector and TMD chain guide. This thing is dialed. So stock gearing up front, 51 in the rear. Get that low end grunt and move forward. So this is the rust stain, and I'm just getting the orange off of my lever or my shifter. And I think it'll just look a lot better with the red bike. I didn't have any other colors, but you can see there, just pulls the anodizing off, and actually pulled the powder coating off as well, but I think it'll look fine there, just all silver on the tip. So on this bike, we are going to be running the Metis EF07 double green. This is a competition gummy. It is super soft. They're like little gummy bears. This tire is, oh man, this thing is so nice, super grippy. It's like this thing is like Velcro on the rocks and the wet roots. But the moose I have is a SRT 140. I ended up buying the wrong size. I should have undersized it because it is so hard. So I'm cutting off the top I'm gonna leave this flat section, and you can see I already drilled it down with the bib bit, but that was not enough originally, so I'm taking off this top section so that there's a gap when the tire is in there, and it makes it even softer. So the other thing I did is I cut out some chunks. I'm leaving 2 fingers worth, and that's just to make it even softer. I keep experimenting with different ways of getting the right pressure for me, and this is one of them. So thanks for checking out the build, guys. I hope you liked it. This is just part 1. In part 2, we're going to be getting into more of some of the engine mods that I'm doing, and addressing some of the other KTM issues. This was mainly getting the bike all nice and protected. So I'm stoked to be riding this GasGas EC300. It's a 2021, and it is feeling great so far. I can't wait to get it fully built out, put it to the true Hard Enduro test. So far this thing is running awesome, and I'm loving the bike. So we will get to the part 2 of the build coming up, and as always, guys, we'll see you out on the trail.